Hey everybody, this is Nathan. Thanks for joining me and checking out my training log here. This is week 4 of working under the Conjugate system, max effort, dynamic effort. It was a really solid week. Didn't have any of those garbage workouts, which happens from time to time. I had some great workouts too, which is always a plus. We got some new toys to play with, so we're going to go ahead and check that out. Let's go ahead and get to the commentary. Alright, first up is max effort lower day, and on the transformer bar I am in the 1A position, which is the cambered bar squat position, which was brutal, man, I tell you. It was pretty much about as hip dominant as I could get without doing a good morning. And I like to squat upright, high bar position, front squat position. That's just the way I like to squat. So yeah, this was pretty killer. I worked up to 265 there, and then I backed down to 75% of that number, getting in the volume mark. I did 3x8, as I normally do 3x. Sometimes it miscounts and gets 9, but it's about 3x8 for volume in that cambered squat position, which was absolutely killer. And then, let's see, after that, squeeze out that last rep. So, after that, I missed my dynamic effort upper last week, so I decided to do the banded bench 10x3s EMOM every minute on the minute in place of my assistance work. So I can't make up the entire day, but I can make up the main lift of the day. And it was a good total body workout too. So here's just a few sets here. That was the first set. This is a set in the middle. I believe my number was, so I have 115 on there plus the reds, which may have been a little bit too much for this week. As you'll see later, I actually went down in weight, but increased the band tension. Of course, always supersetting bench with pull-ups. And yeah, doing the squat plus this was pretty taxing. You'll see, I think this is my last set, and my pull-ups here, I definitely had to, I think I touched the ground on these. I had to help myself get up. You hear me grunt. Yeah, a little bit of jump pull-ups there just to squeeze out those extra reps. Alright, then for my last work of the day, I did these Hatfield split squats. You gotta use these with an SSB bar. In the transformer bar, I have it in the SSB setting. You're gonna have to use it. These are a fantastic exercise. I feel these way better than normal split squats, and I actually have trouble doing split squats on my right side. They cause pain in my hip, and these really alleviate that. And I feel, yeah, these just feel way better than your standard, and it allows you to drive a little bit more in the strength aspect of it. So for my max effort upper, I went some overhead press, which I haven't done in a while. Here I'm doing the seated press. I do not have space in my garage to do a standing press, which I 100% prefer. But the seated press will have to do. I worked up to a max of, let's see here, yeah, 115, then dropped down to volume work 75%. My volume work is always 75% of what I worked up to for that workout. And again, I did 3 sets of 8 here. So this is a new toy I was talking about. Got the dip bars, and they're pretty tough this first day. So I just opted to do some negatives and some other easier variations we'll get to in a minute. Negatives, of course, one of the best. You know I love, if you've been watching, you know I love eccentric emphasis workouts. So I started supersetting that with some inverted rows. Had to change it up a little bit there to make it a bit easier. And then yeah, so I was doing negatives. Now I'm doing single leg supported here, which are really good. I like the leg and weight supported variations a lot more than banded variations, because it still allows you to hit the hardest part, which is at the very bottom. Here I'm just doing a giant set. Here it's just doing flies, focusing on getting a really good stretch in the bottom, feeling it in my chest. And then I was also doing these banded rows with the low rows. Of course, one arm rows, hit both sides. Again, eccentric emphasis. It's always best to just slow it down, control it through your workout. You can go explosive when you're lifting the weight or contracting, but slow it down when you're lowering. And then also some overhead triceps here. So that was my giant set, did about 3 rounds of those exercises. Next up was my dynamic effort lower. Here in my high bar position on the transformer bar. I believe, let's see here, this was 155 pounds plus the black resistance bands. Felt pretty good. Week 4, I'm definitely starting to feel these dynamic effort workouts a lot more. As the weight goes up, it's getting pretty taxing, especially if you're doing every minute on the minute. It's a little bit of a conditioning work too. I don't superset my man lifts, but if you do, you'll get a good sweat going. And then moved into deadlifts. I put 225 here on the bar. It felt great. It was moving. It was moving quick. Yeah. It was definitely. It was challenging though. It was taxing, but the weight was moving, so I'm happy with that. I think this is my last set, so you can see I slowed down a lot. No, this is my last set. Again, dynamic effort day, you want to try and focus on pulling with speed, which can be difficult, especially towards the end. You can go slow on the eccentric, but you gotta pull that weight with speed, push that weight with speed. And then on my dynamic effort days, I started doing some bodyweight leg work. Here I'm trying to do some Nordic ham curls, but just doing some regressions, working on getting stronger in them. And then here's another good regression where instead of going down, you just touch your nose to the ground as far away as you can without needing assistance. These and the other ones you saw me doing, the hand supported, those are really great regressions as you're working your way up, and hopefully one day being able to do an unassisted Nordic ham curl. Let me tell you, these are actually killer on their hamstrings. They'll do wonders for you. And then the other one that I do is the lying leg extensions or quad extensions, however you want to call it. And here I was focusing a little bit on getting more depth. I can do these partial, but I wanted to focus a little bit more on developing the mobility and the total range of motion. And so I'll go down, and then I can't get myself back up. I have to kind of curl myself up a little bit out of there. And then throwing in some calf work too. That is boring. I don't think anyone cares about it, but it is good for your ankles, good for your Achilles to emphasize that stretch at the bottom and get a good contraction at the top. Yeah. And one thing you'll notice is that my right leg got a lot more mobility in my right ankle than my left ankle. So that's one of the reasons I'm doing these, is to try and help develop that mobility in my left ankle. Next up is my dynamic effort upper. As I mentioned, I went down a little bit in weight. I was at 115 last time. I dropped down to 100 here, plus the blacks. I may have actually done this 2 weeks ago, but I could be wrong. Track your workouts, people. I think I just forgot to write this one down. But yeah, the weight moved well. It was challenging. I wasn't too taxed. You might think I've been a little more taxed by throwing that extra work in on my lower day, but the 10x3s at this lighter weight, it's not too demanding, and it shouldn't cause you to have any problems for your next upper body work. So yeah, the weight moved well. The black bands are, challenging, but it moved. And of course, as always, I superset with the pull-ups. Supersetting with rows is another good one. I'm a huge fan of doing that as well. You can never get enough horizontal rowing, as you can see here. Next up, after that, I did some landmine rows. Landmine rows with the back widow. If you've been watching me for any time, I do these a lot, and I will continue to do rows a lot. And I wanted to play around with the dip bar more. I was feeling a little more comfortable, so I opted for some unsupported dips, but I also did some regression work as well. Here's another set, threw on a little bit more weight. I think I did 5 or 6 rounds because I was messing around with the dip bars, wanted to play around with different variations and regressions. So I got a lot of rowing work in, which I have no problem with. So this was another, as you saw me do before. I did this one, and then I also did both feet supported, but I'm not going to show you every single set that I did, because come on, who got at that time? Alright, and then for my last work of the day, I did this little, I guess you could call it a complex, kind of maybe a superset, but I did these meadows rows, where you're standing parallel to the landmine, grabbing the sleeve of the bar, and rowing with it, and I supersetted that with brought it right up into a strict press. It's a pretty good. I wanted to emphasize my shoulders a little bit more. Between the dynamic effort bench and the dips, I was feeling a lot in my chest, so I wanted to do a shoulder exercise a little bit more. The meadows row is great for your upper back. It hits the rear delt as well. Superset with these, get a good total shoulder work, and then I went straight into the other side. So while it's only 2 exercises on each side, it is, I would consider it a complex, because it's 4 exercises, 4 different movements in total. And there's a little bit of conditioning, get your heart rate up a little bit. Knock it out, get your reps in, go straight into the strict press. I like the kneeling press better, but I did not yet. As I say, it's not very comfortable down there. I did recently get a kneeling pad, so we'll start incorporating that into this week's upcoming workouts. But any landmine press is a fantastic press. Alright, and then to end of the day, I just did a little bit of ab work. Here's just some leg tucks on the bench. I don't just knock these out, go slow, get a good burn going. Don't just like swing through it, rep through it, bounce through it, feel your muscles contracting. Then I did these side planks. I don't know what the actual name is, but yeah, they get your obliques burning. Do both sides, of course. And then also I threw some Russian twists in at the end. Go nice and slow. These are fantastic. Feel your abs getting shredded. All right, so that was it. That was my work for the week. Like I said, it was a really solid day. Um, it's 1 month into the program, so just some thoughts on it. It's hard for me to tell if I'm getting stronger, but I'm definitely more comfortable handling the weights that I'm handling. I could probably push the assistance and accessory work harder, use a little more weight on some of those exercises. Um, but that's all on me. It's nothing to do with the program itself. But I would say I definitely feel more able at handling the weights that I'm handling. So I'm interested to see if that's really going to lead to more progress, a higher rep max or a higher 1 rep max or 2 rep max. I'm still kind of undecided on which I want to do. But yeah, we'll see when the time comes. That's still many weeks out. All right, everybody. Thanks again for joining me. If you like the video, like my training, please hit the like button. If you want to see more, of course, you can always subscribe, which would be fantastic. And as always, please leave your thoughts and comments, questions, concerns down below. All right, everybody. Thank you again. We'll see you next time. Happy training.